Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of the City of Tyler Planning and Zoning Commission for January 7th, 2025. Our first order of business is to call the roll.
Yes, sir. Carlene Dark Days.
Present.
Clint Childs.
Present.
Philip Humber.
Here.
Christina Davis. Michael Carmichael.
Here.
Roy Martinez.
Here.
And David Hudson.
We have a quorum. There are 6 of us here. The Planning and Zoning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council. Any item approved today will be acted upon by the City Council at its regular meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd at 9 a.m. If you received a notice for this meeting, you've also received a notice for the City Council meeting. If an item is denied, the applicant has 10 calendar days to file a written appeal. With the Planning Department, the appeal will then be acted upon by the City Council. If you're here to speak for or against an item, please state your name and address for the record. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes or less, although extensions of time may be granted by the chair upon request. At the conclusion of this meeting, we have a regularly scheduled work session, which will be held across the street at 423 West Ferguson in the large conference room, and like all of our meetings, that's open to the public. The next order of business is minutes from our last meeting on December the 3rd. Commissioners had an opportunity to review those.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes from December.
Thank you, Carlene.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve those minutes. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'm going to pause for just a moment. The city has employed 2 new employees for this department, and Kyle's going to introduce those folks to us, so we'll know who they are.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year. The planning department has brought on 2 new members to the team. We have Marina Lopez. She is our planning technician. She's over here. You might not be able to see her. And then we also hired a new planner, Hunter Leach. He's right there. So we're happy to have these 2 individuals to join our team, and hopefully they make a good addition to the city.
Welcome to both of you to the best planning department in the entire state of Texas, and so on. Our first zoning item is ZA 24-001, and it's actually the Unified Development Code. Caleb?
No. And now you get to deal with the old, boring members of the team. Save the new ones for next month. So this is a request to make a uncontestable finding that all territory included within the city of Tyler since December 31st, 2004 is part of the city. This is a yearly item that we have, essentially to sort of verify what was done 20 years ago as being accurate to today. So this is a map of the Tyler city limits as of December 2004, which would be 20 years from today. So staff has reviewed and recommends approval of this zoning amendment.
Thank you. Are the persons here, I don't have anybody listed to speak, are the persons here who'd like to speak on this item? I don't mean to be dismissive, but this is a routine item that we adopt every year to cover legally the past annexations. Are the persons who'd like to speak? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve ZA 24-001.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Thank Caleb. Philip, any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That United Development Code city limit ordinance is adopted. Next is A 24-002, Werner Taylor Land and Development Country.
Yep. This is an annexation request for a piece of land approximately 25.81 acres adjacent to the present city limits of Tyler. This is the general location. This is south of the Crossing subdivision. The applicant is requesting this annexation in order to bring this property into the city of Tyler city limits. In addition, establishing an original zoning of R1B, single-family residential district for this property, and amending the future land use guide to reflect single-family medium-low density. The applicant is intending to develop this property with single-family homes similar to the rest of that crossing development there. So this annexation is essentially just continuing what's already been done, both in the zoning and the future land use guide. This is sort of the preliminary plan there for that area. This is the preliminary plat that has been approved. The property itself. Oops, okay. We'll just go back to that. Staff has, of the 25 notices that have been mailed out, no notices are returned in favor or in opposition to this request. Staff finds that it's consistent. This request would amend the city limits of Tyler, City Council District Number 2, extend the boundary of the Tyler extraterritorial jurisdiction, as well as amending the future land use guide and zoning maps to what I previously discussed. Of the 25 notices that were sent out, none returned in favor and opposition. Staff recommends, in addition to that, staff also sends out notices to all public entities currently servicing the property and did not receive any response from those entities. Staff has reviewed the request and finds that it's consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of this annexation.
Thank you. Caleb, any questions for city staff? If not, no one signed up to speak on this item that I've been given notice of. Are there persons here who would like to speak on this item for or against?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Priestner,
Mark.
half 1121 East Southeast Loop. Just to answer any questions that you have, this is, again, we're extending out. This is the crossing continuing to move west. As we get closer to Old Noonday, we're increasing our density to get to some smaller lots. So as we get away from kind of the heart of the crossing back towards the west. So be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Priestner? And I thank you. Are there others here who wish to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve item A24-002.
Second?
Thank y'all. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Items approved. Next is A24-003 Warner Taylor Land Development LLP. Also, this one's at 14143 County Road 92. Okay.
This property is just actually to the north of the previous annexation item. The applicant is requesting an annexation of approximately 11.06 acres of land adjacent to the present city limits of Tyler. Right here, this is an extension of the Henshaw Creek subdivision. This request is asking for a PUR, planned unit residential zoning, with a written narrative, and as well would amend the future land use guide to reflect single-family, medium, low density. The applicant is intending to develop this property with single-family homes consistent with the surrounding area, what's already been developed there for Henshaw Creek. The proposed PUR narrative stipulates 20 lots with a minimum lot size of 5,000 square feet, with a front setback of 20 feet, side setback of 5 feet, rear setback of 15 feet, and a corner side setback of 10 feet. The narrative also includes standards for 13 lots with a minimum lot size of 6,800 square feet, with a front yard setback of 20 feet, side 7.5 feet, rear 15, and corner 10. In both areas, the height will be limited to 2.5 stories, and other UDC regulations pertaining to R1A zoning would apply. This is the property there. As you can see, it's a portion of that tract, and this is kind of what I mentioned there of that written narrative with sort of a general site plan of what's being proposed there. Of the 5 notices that were mailed out, no notices were turned in favor or in opposition to the request. And likewise, as with the other annexation, we did send out notices to all public entities currently servicing the property and did not receive any response on this item either. So all that being said, staff has reviewed this request and recommends approval of this annexation.
Thank you, Caleb. Any questions for city staff?
Clarification question. So the blue dot is the current city limits? Am I reading that
That's
properly?
correct.
So then what happens to the area surrounding that? It would all be annexed, but would minus that orange part? How would that work?
So everything that's shown there in green, that green hashed area, that's what's being proposed to be annexed. So just a portion of that lot is being annexed in. It's likely at some point in the future that the developer will come in and annex the remainder of that tract, but I believe they're intending to do it as it's being developed. So,
Okay.
But it's contiguous to the existing city property, that Henshaw Creek
that's correct.
Yeah, on
Drive,
that-
so it's connected.
Just on the
Yes.
northwest?
It's a little difficult to see, but yes, this part here, this little yellow portion, I know it kind of matches the same color, ETJ reddish color, but that is in city limits, so this is adjacent to the city limits there.
Thank you.
Any questions for city staff? Mr. Priester?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, same thing, answer questions. To your point, it's, as we develop, we're going to continue to keep annexing and extending city utilities. There are some pre-development things that are easier to do when you're not in the city limits yet. So that's why we bring it in as we go. Burning, things like that, just it's an easier way to pre-develop. But we want to make sure that as we go, all utilities, everything is done for, per city standards, so that as it comes in, everything's kind of unified.
Got it. Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions that you
That
have.
answered the root question.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Priester? Thanks, Steve. No other persons that I know of who have signed up to speak. Are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve item A24-003.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z24-038, Cynthia Allen, 601 Dodge Street.
Good afternoon.
Sure.
This is a zoning change from RMF, which is multifamily residential, to RPO, Restricted Professional Office District. The applicant is requesting the zone change to bring the property into conformance with the Unified Development Code. Adjacent properties to the east and the south are zoned RMF, multifamily residential, and are developed with medical facilities. The adjacent properties to the west is zoned R1B, single-family residential, family district, and is developed with a single-family home. The future land use guide identifies this property as single-family, medium, low density. This request would amend the future land use guide to as office. The applicant intends to lease the property, lease this space for a dental practice. For years, the property has operated as a dental practice and will continue to function as such. And recently, when attempting to obtain a certificate of occupancy, the owners became aware that the current zoning, which is residential multifamily, and the previous operation use did not align. But in the past, the RMF zoning classification allowed for offices and office uses prior to the adoption of the Unified Development Code. Of the 17 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that the request is generally consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions? I think I know the applicant is Cynthia here. Do you want to say anything? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Allen. I'm here today representing 601 Properties LLC and speaking on behalf of Cynthia Allen in support of the proposed zoning change for 601 East Dodge Street from RMF to RPO. The dental office at this location has a meaningful history within our family and community. It was originally established in 1968 by my grandfather, Dr. Eugene Allen, and later operated by my father, Dr. Don Allen, until his untimely passing in 2013. Afterward, another dentist acquired the practice and leased the building until relocating early last year. Currently, the property is leased by another dental group that continues to provide dental services to the East Texas community. It was only during the recent permit process for renovations that we became aware that this property is classified as RMF. The surrounding area includes multiple dental and medical offices that similarly provide professional health care services. In fact, most of the neighboring businesses also appear to be misclassified as RMF, with the exception of 2 properties that were successfully rezoned RPO. We are respectfully requesting that 601 East Dodge Street be rezoned RPO to better reflect its current use in alignment with the professional office nature of the area. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for this gentleman? Thank you. The only other person who signed up is David Worsham. Mr. Worsham, would you like to speak? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We own 2 properties adjacent to this, 1002 and 1006 South Sneed Avenue. And I know the Allens. I've known the Allens for 30 years because we've owned one of the properties for 30 years. So the fact that they are involved in this, I really don't have any questions. I just want a clarification that it was going to continue to be a medical office of some sort and not a honky-tonk. You know, certainly might make a difference in our value of our property. So no, I don't have any. So thank you.
Thank you for being here, David. Any questions?
Am I allowed to leave now?
Yes, sir.
Chairman, thank you so much.
But if you want to see really good government,
Sir?
if you want to watch good government in action,
Yes, sir.
this is a place for you.
Well, I appreciate it. Can I come back some other time?
All right. Thank you. I don't want to sound too involved in this case because I'm not, but like a lot of people, I knew the Allens as well. I live next door to where Dr. Eugene Allen used to live, and sometimes are there others here who would like to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve item Z24-038.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Good luck with your project, and thank you for being here. Next is Z24-041, Valley Property Investments, 308 Jordan Street.
This is a zone change from C2 General Commercial District to R1B, which is a single-family residential district. The applicant is requesting the zone change to bring the property into conformance with the Unified Development Code. The adjacent properties to the north and east are zoned C2, General Commercial, and are undeveloped, and there's also a single-family home on the other property. The south is zoned C2 as well, General Commercial District, and is also undeveloped. The adjacent property to the west is zoned R1B, Single-Family Residential District, and is developed with a single-family home, which is the result of a similar rezoning back from 2005. The future land use guide identifies this property as neighborhood commercial, and this request would amend the future land use guide to single-family medium low density. The applicant is requesting the zone change to bring the existing home into conformance. The applicant has indicated that no commercial activity has taken place at this property and plans to remodel the existing structure as a single-family home. Of the 8 notices mailed, 1 notice was returned in favor, and there were none that were returned in opposition to the request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it is generally consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions? City staff? If not, are there persons here who wish to speak? Is the applicant here, or persons here who wish to speak on this item for or against? I notice we have a letter of support from the Caldwell Foundation, who owns the adjoining property. Are there others who would like to speak for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve, which one are we? Z 24-041.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is Z24-039 Apollino, or I guess it's Molina Apollino, 1316 Claude Street.
Good afternoon. This request is for a zone change for RMF, which is our multifamily residential district, to R1B, single-family residential. It is located east of southeast intersection of Claude Street and North Englewood Avenue. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build a single-family home. The adjacent properties to the north are zoned R1B, single-family residential district, and RMF, multifamily residential district, and are developed with a single-family home and an abandoned duplex. The adjacent properties to the east are zoned RMF, multifamily residential district, and are developed with a single-family home and are undeveloped. The adjacent properties to the south and west are zoned RMF, multifamily residential district, and are developed with 3 single-family homes or are undeveloped. The future land use would be consistent with the single-family medium-low density. The property is currently undeveloped. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build a single-family home. The request is in keeping with the surrounding areas, which consist of single-family homes. Of the 26 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds the request is generally consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Thank you, Anna. Any questions for city staff? If not, I have no notice of anyone who wishes to speak on this item. Are there persons here who would like to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve item Z24-039.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is, and last, Z24-040 Nedwall Properties.
This
Anna?
is a zone change from M1 Light Industrial District to M2, our General Industrial, to create a PCD, a Planned Commercial District. It is located north of the intersection of Earl Campbell Parkway and Mosaic Way. The applicant is requesting the zone change to continue commercial development on the property. The adjacent properties to the north are zoned M2, General Industrial, and are developed with industrial uses. The adjacent properties to the east is zoned M1 Light Industrial District and is undeveloped. The adjacent properties to the south are zoned C1 Light Commercial District and are developed with commercial uses. The adjacent property to the west is zoned PCD Planned Commercial District and is developed with commercial uses. The future land use would be amended from business office park to general commercial. The applicant is requesting the zone change to further commercial development on the property. As the owner of the properties to the east, the applicant intends to create a planned commercial district that aligns with the existing properties. The proposed development includes the construction of a 3-unit structure for office or retail use. The narrative proposes that all PCD uses be allowed, with the exception of use in the residential group living category in the UDC. This, in effect, prohibits assisted living and skilled nursing facilities, as well as crisis centers and halfway homes. This is the written narrative that they provided. Of the 8 notices mailed, 2 notices were returned in favor and none in opposition to the request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it is consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff? If not, I have no notice of any person who signed up to speak on this item. Are there persons here who would like to speak on this item for or against? Yes, sir.
Would you pull up the written narrative page again? I didn't do that in my packet.
My name is Sam Ivy. I work over at the Brandon Corporation, and I'm working with Mr. Jim on this project, and I'm just here for questions. 1321 South Broadway.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, thank you for your time and presence. Are there others who wish to speak on this item for or against? Clint, you need anything?
I just,
No?
no, I'm good.
If there are no questions, city staff's recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
I do have a question for staff.
Roy?
The way the drawing shows it cuts across John Carney, would that allow for structure to go across John Carney and cut that access?
I'm not sure what.
If you go back, right there, on the zoning piece, you see where the zoning cuts across John Carney Drive, and then, if I'm correct, I think that there's access all the way through. Would that potentially allow someone to build across?
No, actually, this PCD it's just a. You can go back to the other one. It's just a portion of that tract. What you're seeing here on this layout is just that old railroad right of way on the. It's really the west side, but the top part there.
Correct.
And then the back or the west side of that parking lot. So that's really what's being subject here to the zone change. I'm not familiar with that location you're referring to. If there's an easement there that might prohibit any development anyways, but that's not. This request doesn't pertain to that location.
Okay.
So it will not change anything over there.
That answers it. There's probably an easement if that's still there.
Right. I suspect there is an access easement.
Okay.
Does the group living, is that multifamily? Is that just another?
Right. Yeah, that's any residential uses are allowed in PCD, which are in the group living. So multifamily is not in the group living, but it's also not allowed. Like an apartment's not allowed in PCD, or not permissible. So that would not be permissible anyways. And just a little bit of history. So the PCD that you see on the map to the southwest has the same standards as this. So it's just really a continuation of that. And to prevent any residential uses in that location, because there may be a conflict with the industrial users nearby.
Thanks, Roy and Kyle. Any other questions? Any other speakers? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Z24-040.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item's approved. The commission will stand and recess pending meeting in our work session. Thanks to everybody for being here.